Time for some clinical peanuts.
What are the basic requirements and what are the checklists? Okay, so we have our guest who has already joined in. Okay, so I'll just introduce you.
Sorry, sir. I'm sorry to disturb, sir. I think you are muted.
Thanks. Yeah, so I'll just introduce our guest speaker. We have Dr. Aarti Heda. He is a consultant and anterior segment surgeon in Pune. She has done her fellowship in refractive surgery from Narayan Nethralaya, Bangalore, and she has done a fellowship in glaucoma, ICO fellowship in glaucoma, and she has also cleared her FRCS, FSCS, and FICO. She is an associate editor of the Global Journal of Cataract Surgery and Research in Ophthalmology and core committee member of the medical legal cell of AIOS. And she is an active member of Young Ophthalmologic Society of India. And she's also a national coordinator for International Society for Manual Small Incision and Cataract Surgeons. And she has achieved various international and national awards. And even the American Academy of Ophthalmology Fellowship for 2024 Chicago. And she has performed over 10,000 eye surgeries. And she has worked in India as well as abroad. So thank you, Aarti, for joining in.
Thank you so much, Anuj, for the kind invitation.
So Aarti, like if somebody wants to start working in Africa, so is there anything minimum requirement of his degree or anything?
So I'll say that I have been a member of Ghana Ophthalmological Society and COEXA, which includes 8 Eastern countries. So we are very fortunate that in these countries, our Indian degree is also recognized. So we really don't have to do any additional exams there. The only thing is that if you have done ophthalmology from India, you might have to give an interview to work in Ghana, which is in western part of Africa. When it comes to COEXA, which is College of Southern, Eastern, and Central Africa, which includes 8 African countries, you just have to give your documents. They will validate that. They may ask you few questions, but that might be just informal thing, and there is no exam as such for these. So if you have done, you have already done a fellowship, then definitely it is going to be a better thing when you go and practice in these countries.
Okay. Thank you, Aarti. And our second guest for today, Dr. Aditya Sudhakar, has also joined in. So I'll just give a brief introduction. Dr. Aditya Sudhakar has completed his master's in 2010 from MNJ, Western Regional Institute of Ophthalmology. He has pursued his fellowship in vitreoretina from LV Prasad Eye Institute. He also operates and consults in Germany. He enjoys research and has 67 publications in various international journals. And he is a common figure in all the national and international conferences. and is a faculty at the minimal buckling surgery teaching course at URetina, and also has been awarded the CRISIC travel grant for URetina. He has co-authored many books, and he has been co-author in the minimal surgery for retinal detachment. And his area of interest are medical and surgical retina and endophthalmitis. And he has also worked in Tanzania, Uganda, Zambia, and Germany. So he'll also share his insight. Thank you, Dr. Aditya, for joining in.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you for that kind introduction. So I think Aarti Madam has already given them some insight on Africa. So as far as these East African nations are concerned, the protocol is the same, except in Zambia, wherein you definitely have to give an exam. I think it's more of a formality, but nevertheless, there is an exam. However, in the three East African nations that are most known, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, and especially for someone from Gujarat, because a sizable population of Gujaratis is already settled there. It is again, getting in is not a problem at all. Having, as Madam already said, having some training in phacoemulsification or some fellowship is essential. The reason we are all looking at Africa is that it is an emerging market. There is huge potential there. The two things that work the best for us is number one, the financials are, in my opinion, far superior to someone who has no background in ophthalmology in India. And number two, insofar as legal complications go or patient expectations go, it is a much more congenial market. So all said and done, the only drawback perhaps is that the kind of technology that you expect in India or elsewhere, you have to set. I mean, you can set it up, but that might just take time. So wherever you go, a 2 to 3 year, homing in period is what you have to consider anyway. So that's number one. As far as Germany goes, the biggest. Am I not audible?
No, you're audible.
Okay. So as far as Germany goes, the language is perhaps the biggest barrier. They certainly have exams. There would be 4 exams in total. One would be the German Common Language exam. That is the kind of conversation that we are having right now. So you should be able to have this conversation in German. Number 2 is the medical knowledge exam or the Kenntnisprüfung, which means that you have to be able to represent your basic MBBS knowledge in German to the examiners. The number 3 is the German professional language exam, similar to PLAB. And the 4th would be your ophthalmology validation exam. That is, of course, later. Once you are done with the first 3 exams, you can practice in German. So you are what they call approbated. So that is the word that they use. So approbation. So, but you should have the necessary time to devote to these activities, because all of this generally is a 2 to 3 year old journey. So 2 to 3 years is what the minimum that you're looking at, especially if you have no knowledge of German. And it makes more sense for people who are moving there because their spouse is there or because their family there. That makes more sense. So increasingly, a lot of people are opting for Germany for residency. However, I think that is not a concern, because from what I get, all our postgraduate students, the people who are already here. So Germany is in the long term very good, especially for someone who has no backing in India. The kind of investment that is needed is also largely taken care of. They definitely need good doctors, but the language and the waiting time is a problem. And the problem in Germany is opposite to what we have in Africa. There, to be able to operate, it might actually take 5 to 10 years for you to be, you're always in line. And once the senior is done with his or her training or with his or her quota of surgeries, once he feels or she feels content, that is when they will hand over surgery to you. So most of the work that is done in Germany by 90% of the population is just refraction, retinoscopy, some injections, OCT scans, and so. So it is actually only maybe 10% of the population that actually operates, which means that they are very proficient. The 10% that does operate is very good at everything because they do everything, right from cornea to retinal surgery. But if you join an institute, you have to wait your turn. So overall, I think Germany is okay for somebody who plans to settle there, permanently. And of course, then that opens up the whole of EU for you. So that is also good. But I think if you want to start off immediately, especially with operative work, because that's what most ophthalmologists would want, I think Africa is a far better option. Then you have Fiji and all as well, where you can actually go and settle. We have this, I think, Brunei, where you can go and work. There are many, smaller countries where you can go and work as an ophthalmologist. But for people from India, I think Africa is the most viable. And the one thing that I often get is, the safety issues. So let me tell you that East Africa, especially the countries that I referred to, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and Zambia, they are safer than perhaps most parts of India. So that is not a concern at all. The quality of life, the kind of people that you meet there are also perhaps better than you would in India. So overall, yes, I think these are good options, provided you have the time. If you want to go to Germany, you have the time. That's okay. But otherwise, I think Africa is something that can be started off instantaneously once you have that necessary skill set.
So, Dr. Aditya, so if somebody wants to plan for Germany or Europe, do they have to have some more degrees than their?
No, not at all. Your MBBS and MS is valid. And that is, you need to have your certificates translated in German. That is all doable.
So do we need to have a logbook also the way we need?
That would be preferable, yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Preferable. And where you can show them the kind of surgeries that you have done.
Oh. So, Dr. Aarti, what generally people ask is, like Dr. Aditya said, that it takes around 5 to 10 years for Germany. How much time would you suggest for someone who's planning for Africa or the places which you have been to?
Okay, so I was based in Ghana for 4 years, and after that, I have moved back to India, and I have been visiting the Eastern African countries through one NGO. So I'll tell you, once you're like when I went there, I was very fresh from my fellowship, and I got recognition very quickly because the competition is less. If you are a good surgeon, if your results are good, you will get very good referrals. So a time to settle is actually very little. In 3 years, I would have done 450 trabeculectomies, which was definitely not possible to do somebody at like my age. Too young. I was operating VVIPs of that country. I've operated Speaker of Parliament. Not that I want to just tell good things about myself, but I'm just telling that the opportunities which you will get in these countries, if you have good skill sets, is something which you cannot expect you will get in India or anywhere else for that matter. So time to settle in Africa, if you ask me, it is actually nothing. You need much more time to settle in India than Africa. Here you will be operating cases which are less than 15,000, or let's say which are insurance cases or CAM cases when you are just out of your residency or fellowship. But that won't be the case in Africa at all. I can reassure you for that. And on top of it, the variety of cases which you get there, they are altogether different than what you get in India. You will get hands-on for practically every possible complicated case. Like I have explanted Ahmed valve before I implanted it. I have explanted express shunt before I implanted it because the cases were very complicated. When I reached, nobody was doing phacoemulsification over there. It was like somebody wants to do phaco, they will fly to UK or US. People, those who can afford. Cannot afford, will go for small incision cataract surgery. But when I went there, I had so much of opportunity that I was doing practically 8 cases every day, out of which 4 might be phacotrabeculectomies. So the surgical load per se you will get is very good. But everything depends on your skill set and how you convince the patient to get operated. That might be the another thing.
Yeah, I agree. And I think patient appreciation is better. Your remuneration is better. More
Yeah.
than India for sure.
Yeah,
So
and we will,
here
yeah.
you are. I mean, the topic is clinical peanuts, and you are actually working for peanuts in India. Ultimately, everybody. So even people who have
That
a
might be
setup.
another aspect we can discuss when
Yeah.
Dr.
But
Anuj
So,
talks about that. Yeah.
so basically, you mean to say clinical peanuts only will survive in India. Rest all
peanuts is what we get in India, or clinical peanuts is all we get. But there, you can have far more.
Okay, so we'll move off through the continent of Africa. We have already talked about Europe, and we'll go to a small island near it, which is UK. So, Dr. Rashmi, do we have you? Dr. Rashmi? Let's just see if we can.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, Dr. Rashmi. Yeah, so how would one go about UK? Like, would you like to tell us about your journey or what one should do?
So for me, basically, I moved to UK because my husband had to move. So yeah, I moved with him. The path I took was FRCS Glasgow. So I had given ICO exams, like the herd, like everyone were giving. So when I gave, but it did help me to give FRCS Glasgow part 1 and part 2. I was exempt, so part 2A, but I had to give part 2B and then part 3. So if you want to go to UK, there are 3 routes that you can take. One is FRCS Glasgow, either through ICO, or you can give FRCS Glasgow part 1 from the part 1 itself. The other route is you can give PLAB and then go. And the third route is called as MTI, which is Medical Training Initiative. So in the UK, there is an option where even without having any of the UK so-called degrees like PLAB or FRCS, there is many trusts offer this option called Medical Training Initiative, where you go for training for 2 years to the UK. So you work there and you get trained as well, and you work in the clinics, you get to operate, you do all of it. And many of them initially go there under that scheme as MTI or Medical Training Initiative scheme, and then they continue to live there if they like it. The advantage of each route of PLAB is quicker, but then you'll have to again go through all your MBBS syllabus. FRCS Glasgow will take about 2 years in total, even if you've done ICO after you do part 2B and then part 3. It's harder to get the slots unless you're very lucky, because they don't have like a waiting list. They don't have like, you won't know where you're in the queue. You don't know anything. You just apply for every center every time the exam is held, and then if you get a slot, you're lucky. If you don't get a slot, you apply again. So that is one of the issues with FRCS Glasgow. And then MTI, it is a easier route to take, but again, there are not many trusts in the UK which offer MTI option. So you'll have to see. MTI jobs are harder to come by, whereas a trust grade doctor in ophthalmology, they have a lot of vacancy, because UK, the main skilled workforce in the NHS immigrants. People in the UK, they prefer to be self-employed more than work. They don't see this as more lucrative because it's not so flexible in terms of working hours. So they have a real shortage for doctors. So they have a real need. And ophthalmology is considered a very niche field. So there is a lot of demand. And you get hands-on very quickly. So obviously, like with any country, they will have a little of bias for trainees. So their training program in ophthalmology is actually 7 years. So it's ST1 to ST7. So if you join here as a job initially, you can actually even enter their training program. If you've done like say 3-4 years in ophthalmology, you can get a parallel entry at ST4 level, complete their training program and become a consultant. But if you don't want to do that, you can become a consultant even when you're in a non-training job, say as a trust grade or as a specialty grade doctor in ophthalmology. But that's a bit more harder, where you need to show your competencies. You still need to either way, you still need to give your FRCOph if you decide to settle in the UK and if you want to become a consultant in the UK. But if you enter into their training program, the process is more streamlined. Otherwise, you can do it, but it's a lot more tedious. And the work is Monday to Friday, and 8:30 to 5:30 is your working hours. You do tend to end up staying late sometimes, but not most of the time. And you usually have 2 theater sessions in a week. And when I joined as a specialty doctor. So I rotated through all subspecialties initially. So I joined here after I'd completed my MS in India, and then I'd done my fellowship, phaco-refractive fellowship in Lions Hospital in Bangalore, and I had done half of glaucoma fellowship in Minto Hospital before I moved here. So I was already okay in like surgically, so I knew how to do phacos, and that made it easier. So if you've never done a phaco, it's a bit harder because they only do phacos here and they only do topical or maximum posterior subtenon. Peribulbar block they never ever give. I've not seen a peribulbar block since I came here. So and initially they have a lot of these simulation training. So if you start off doing simulation training for phaco called ISI simulation training, and then you start operating on actual patients. So the training is really good, and you get exposure to all subspecialties. So initially I rotated all subspecialties. Though I'd started 6 months glaucoma, I realized I hadn't really been exposed to much of oculoplastics, much of neuro-ophthalmology, pediatrics, and squint during my master's. I'd done mainly more of retina cornea glaucoma than other subspecialties. So I got exposure to all subspecialties. So 6 months, I rotated through all of them. And then I completed my glaucoma fellowship here. The hands-on is really, it's, I don't know, compared to, I think the training program, even in India, though it's a 7-year training program here, by the time they come out, they almost come out ready to be consultants in a subspecialty, and they would have had good exposure to every subspecialty. And they have they have a surgical logbook where they need to get the numbers like 400 phacos, 20 squint surgeries. They should have done steps in assisted in like 10 trabeculectomies, 10 vitrectomy. So the training program is really good. If someone enters, by the time you come out, you will have basic idea of every subspecialty, basic surgical training in every subspecialty, and you can have your own subspecialty of your choice. So like I've done a core vitrectomy, I've done squint surgeries after I've come here, but though I've taken up glaucoma as my subspecialty, I still have had exposure to all of the other subspecialties reasonably well. I can do an entropion repair, a lateral tarsal strip, DCR. So you get good exposure to all subspecialties, and you have clinics. Your clinics are all pre-booked, so you can so you have like 10 to 14 patients each session. There will be a senior consultant whom you can discuss with. So I felt, for me, I really upskilled my ophthalmology training after I came here. The flip side is your social life. You don't have family, you don't have much of a social life, festivals, no support. So I didn't have like a buy when I came here. So you learn to do everything, like clean your own toilet and also look after your children, send to a childminder, and that is very expensive. So if you have a child, childcare is very expensive here. Children start school after the age of 4. Then, so at least from 9 to 3, they are in the school. But your work starts before 9 and never ends at 3. So you'll still need like a nanny or childcare, unless your parents can come for 6 months and your in-laws can come for 6 months and look after the child. Then it's okay. But otherwise, childcare is pretty expensive, and the place is expensive to live. So you'll look at your salary and you'll feel like, oh wow, I earn 5,000 pounds a month, which is excellent. But then 1,500, 1,600 is your house rent. So it's like the cost of living is also high. So yeah, training wise, it was good. I'm actually coming back mainly because family, like in-laws, parents, they're all getting a bit old, so they need help. And you will miss the sunshine in the winter here. It's very cold and wet. The sun sets by 3 o'clock and it's dark after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So the winter months are quite gloomy. The summer's nice. Summer, you have sunshine until like 9 o'clock. Work, I really enjoyed. I think I learned a lot here. And training opportunities are many. They have a big need for ophthalmologists. So for me, it was a positive experience. But yeah, you definitely miss family, friends, the social life, the food. You can't get a pani puri if you want to. You have to make it. So yeah, so all that is, yeah, it has its ups and downs, but it was a good learning experience. Lots of Indians have settled here. So there are some spots in the UK where you have lots of Indians, like Birmingham has a lot of Indians. In London there are a lot of Indians. So up north there are more Indians. Whereas I was down south, like I live like 6 minutes. Hello, sorry.
Yeah. Please continue.
Yeah. It depends on what you want to do. So even they have a lot of fellowship opportunities as well, where your salary is much, much better compared to fellowship options back home. They do have quite a few fellowships as well here. So yeah, if anyone wants to plan to come here, you need to give yourself at least 1 to 2 years to get, if you want to go through the FRCS route or the PLAB route. But if you can get an MTI job, then it's fairly quick. For FRCS Glasgow, I mean, because we are used to preparing for MCQs and we're used to preparing for exams, it is doable. I think we have a mental block when we think, oh, FRCS, but it is definitely doable.
Dr. Anuj, can I add something here?
Yeah, please.
So, I mean, I agree to most of it what Dr. Rashmi has said, but if in case you are now going to start preparing for UK, it might be a better idea to give FRCOph than FRCS. You become consultant directly when you have FRCOph. If you have long-term plans to be in the system, then FRCOph will be definitely better. More or less, the preparation struggle is same. But believe me, these exams make you better ophthalmologist. I gave FRCS step 1, 2, and 3. I did not use the ICO route. I gave after 3 years of my fellowship. It was difficult to start studying from exam point of view. But I learned so many things while I was preparing for that exam. So these exams are very, very standard. More or less, the preparation is same. More or less, the standard of questions, MCQs, they are more or less plus minus here and there. Practical OSCEs, they are same. But FRCOph might be a better option. And the other option, Dr. Anuj, I don't know whether you have in mind to discuss, is UAE, Dubai, DHA exams and all.
We are open to
I
any
have
country outside.
last year. Sorry?
I said we are open to any country outside India.
So I have cleared DHA exam last year. I mean, if somebody wants to go Africa, UK, these are options definitely. But yeah, you know, Dubai can also be one of the good options for when we talk about the social life and other stuff. So I'll just talk the ophthalmology part of it first. The process is little lengthy. You have to fill the online form, which can take days to complete. You have to get your certificate recognized. Then DHA will send the request to your home country, home institute, to just to verify whether the documents are correct or not. So you might have to inform where you have worked or where you have done your fellowship, that somebody might contact you and you need to respond them as soon as possible. And there is an MCQ exam which you have to take, which is online. And there are 4 or 5 centers in India. I took it in Chennai. It wasn't very difficult exam to clear. But once you get the DHA license, you can then apply for jobs directly in Dubai, which is not very difficult. And the quality of work, I haven't worked there yet, but the quality of work, people say, is really very good. You have good social life, you have personal life, you have time for yourself. Not like India, that everybody is in a race here. And if you want to a little lighter life, then Dubai can also be an option.
Okay, so we got one more option for us. And the next session we'll have it on DHA. No, you're
I
on.
just forgot that I have DHA exam cleared as well. So when Dr. Rashmi said about the social life and all, it just clicked me.
No. And so we'll have a next session on DHA with Dr. Aarti. And here's Dr. Rashmi.
No, I just want to say I agree that FRCOph is a good exam to give, but sometimes FRCOph may be easier when you're here because in UK they have many mock exams and preparation, so it may be a bit more easier to give, but definitely doable. If you have the motivation and if you're determined that you want to settle here, then you need an FRCOph. Otherwise, you can't progress.
Yeah, I think that is a very important point because most of the people who I see or meet are doing FRCS without any motivation. They feel that this is the exam which will take them abroad. They don't know where they want to go, but they are just trying for FRCS instead of focusing on other areas. So that is was the main reason for this, that people who have been abroad who know what is needed, because as you said that to become a consultant you better go for FRCOpth instead of,
Yeah.
and people are very much this with the ICO exams, and they feel that it is going to give them some international recognition when they go, and so this was a very important point which you have brought about.
Basically, you need to know why you want to go. Like for me, I had to go because my husband was there, so I didn't have much of a choice. But if you want to go, at least have something in mind. Like I've met my another colleague who's come here. She's come from India just because she wanted to experience life in the UK and then decide if she wants to settle here. So she was very determined. She's given her FRCF part 1, part 2. She's given her FRCS Glasgow, and she's come, and it's been 1 year now. So there are people who are coming with the name, and she wanted to do a fellowship from the UK. So her dream was to do in more fields. And like people are determined, like they know what they want, they come and they get it. And if you are goal driven that way, you can achieve it. Or or it could be because your spouse is here and you have to come, and then you want to see what you can do and what you can learn and try to make the most of living here and being here and make the most of the situation. But if you want to come, it's always better to have an idea in mind, like why you're coming, what you want to achieve out of it, and what are your goals, what you want to do here while you're here. And then if you want to settle here, if you like it, or if you think no, you want a better family life and you want to go back. So it depends on what your ambitions are and what you want in terms of your life.
Okay, so Dr. Aditya, like Dr. Rashmi told that the training is very good, and this. So if someone is not very well efficient in their surgical skills, do you think Europe is an option for them?
No,
Or
so in Europe, the problem is that the UK and Spain, they have the best training programs insofar as hands-on go.
okay,
So Germany, most residents have not even had a look through the microscope. It's that bad. In fact, going there, there was a question in the chat, going there for fellowship, that is absolutely useless because all they'll do is just make you stand around. So you can go there once you're trained with the understanding that you have 5 more years after your fellowship to actually work, spend, and you have enough financial backing to let you work or rather study for all these exams. Because in Germany, the main issue is the language. It's obviously, English, everybody's familiar with. You have done your medical exams in English, so that is not a problem. Here, learning the language first, and the medical council, the administrators in the medical council have the right to give you a work permit based upon your communication skills without an official certificate. They can say that yes, you can start off, you submit your certificate in the next couple of years, it's okay. Conversely, if you're not fluent in German, they can actually ask you to go back, practice speaking, practice communication, and then come back and then get there. So this is how important the language is. And that is why. And of course, the pay scale there is good, everything is good. But Europe overall, including the UK, it's extremely expensive. And you have to do everything on your own. So, right, everything, absolutely everything. So if you're prepared for all of that, and if you're highly motivated, then it's worthwhile.
Okay. And so if I want to plan for Africa, then for obviously I want to work in Africa. How do I go about? Do I have to go through some
Whatever
agency,
it is,
or
even
there's some websites, or they have their
Oh yeah. So there are
medical
two ways. One is through NGOs like Dr. Aarti was mentioning, or through this site savers or whatever. There are many NGOs or institutes. The second is there are multiple private practices set up in Africa as well. So I am in touch with a lot of people who are looking for full timers. And the good thing about Africa, of course, is that the salary that they quote is your take-home salary. I'm again repeatedly stressing on the financials. So one is the work part. That is definitely the job satisfaction would be much better. Take-home salary with accommodation, with food, everything, transport, all included. So it is actually your take-home salary. So that is the good thing. And there are private clinics as well that are interested in setting up ophthalmology units. And then you have these side savers, you have their government hospitals. But the best option, especially in East Africa and Zambia, what I saw is having a setup where you are in some ways a partner. Either your instruments or something, you bring something to the table. That is important.
Okay, so you should be ready for investment as well if you're planning. That would be a good option for now.
Yes, that would be excellent. And of course, your skill set. I mean, that is of paramount importance, obviously.
Okay.
So if you ask me, Dr. Anuj, you can go by three ways. I'll just modify Dr. Aditya's answer a bit. You can go through NGOs where you might not be paid that well. It might be just that you are giving your service, like you might not get your surgical charges, but you might get your travel charges, and you might not pay anything from your pocket, like accommodation, food, and all, but you might not get much of the salary or anything. You can't even call that salary because you might be visiting there and not be based there. The second option is you join somebody who is an African who has a practice over there, maybe a private or an institute. That is option, but that might be a risky option because you don't know that person and that person doesn't know you. So it might be difficult for you to trust that person, that what if I go and then the situation is such that I cannot come back or something like that. The third option is there are a lot many Indian hospitals which have the branches overseas nowadays. To name a few without any financial interest is Dr. Agarwal's ASG, and I think LV Prasad also has in Liberia somewhere the branch. So you can be part of their centers here, and then you can ask them if you want to go there. Uh, uh, they will hold all the responsibilities right from your travel. If you are stuck somewhere, even medico legally, which is not very common, but even if you are stuck there for any other reason, they will definitely bring you back to India. So that might be an option, especially when you're a fresher, you don't have that much of exposure. Then that might be one of the option. We have a lot of questions going on regarding the training in European countries or UK and all, but I'll just tell one sentence when it comes to training. You cannot get better training than India anywhere. When it comes to training, you have excellent teachers, you have excellent seniors, you have excellent patients, you have excellent lot many simulators and all. So it's good to get trained in India and then just go there for brush up. I'm telling you from my own experience. I was in Moorfields for glaucoma short-term fellowship, and I just thought that, oh fine, I'm just visiting UK and I'm not going to take back anything home, because what I was doing 3 years back, the consultants were doing at that stage. And similarly, I was in AO for AO fellowship I got, and I just realized that more or less I'm not going to learn anything great from here. This is what my personal experience will speak of.
Okay. So I think,
just two more points.
yeah.
In East Africa, we have a lot of people who are willing to invest, provided you join them in some capacity. So let's say the Agrawal route, what Dr. Aarti was just mentioning, that is one. But you can also contact them and they'll ask you to visit. You can put forward your terms, they'll put forward theirs, and then most times it's a good working relationship. All they want is maybe a 2-year commitment. So that is one. There were also questions on Canada. So all of these places, outside, long waiting times, and even the care that is provided, that is also, very delayed. So we have seen in Canada a lot of people, just to get an OCT reports interpretation, they have to wait a couple of months. So the OCT will be done. So first you have to get an appointment for the OCT scan, even in the UK or everywhere. So first you get an appointment for the OCT scan and then for the interpretation. So this is how it is. So a lot of people then end up feeling, half informed or something. So this is true for most places, especially in Canada. I've heard about that in the UK. Germany, it's not such a big problem because there the insurance system is far more direct. You can, for example, if you have a problem, a headache, you can directly go to the neurosurgeon, but that's not the case in the UK unless you go to a private clinic. In Germany, you can directly walk into a neurosurgeon or a neurophysician's clinic.
Okay.
Here you have to go through the house physician or somebody.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, Aditya. Seeking healthcare, like even for yourself, is so hard in the UK. So even if you have say you feel like, oh, I feel my daughter, I felt she developed tonsillitis, and you can't really directly go anywhere. So you need to first go to your GP. Your GP will see, and first to get through to the GP, you'll be on the phone at 8:00 to get a slot for the day. Otherwise, you won't get a slot. I'll just say we'll see you in a couple of days or whatever. And then to get to the GP, then the GP will have a look. They're not ENT trained. They'll have a basic idea, and then they'll do the referral. And by the time that referral reaches the hospital, and then you get an ENT appointment, the problem is already sorted.
Yeah, and in fact, I mean, just to continue where you left off, we have a jeweler friend from Baroda in the UK, and he said that the time to diagnosis for a cataract, just getting him on a slit lamp and diagnosing that he has cataract, was 6 months.
The thing is, the referral takes forever here. So as a patient, the pathway is quite painful. So say the patient, the thing is over here, to see an ophthalmologist, the patients wait for years and years. That's why when they get an appointment, when they see you, they treat you like God because they've waited so long to see you. Because the first point of call is an optician or optometrist, and they see them, and then if they say that, okay, this patient has, say, suspicious optic disc, and they're referred for glaucoma, the patient will get the glaucoma appointment unless the pressure is 50 and it's an emergency. Otherwise, if it's a routine referral, the patient will get the glaucoma clinic appointment after 54, 56 weeks. That's the waiting period. So after more than 1 year or 1.5 years, because that's how inundated their system is, and that's how shortage there are of doctors. And
somebody has put up a comment that in India the time from diagnosis to operative is 6 minutes, which is true.
Yeah,
I think we'll not stay on the topic right now because we have a lot of people asking. So I'll open this to anyone who wants to ask the question, can take the mic, and we have our experts. So please
I think not just now, but people can just jot down the numbers, and because the questions will have to be country specific.
Yeah. So please, if anybody has any question, please take the mic, and you can ask anyone, whomever you want to.
Good evening, sir. I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Anyone can throw light on the surgical hands-on in Dubai or UAE?
So I'll just, because I have a friend there and I've been there, I think work is excellent. I mean, once you get, approved and you have joined an institution that is already set up, I think work-wise, there is no problem. Might be initially a little slow, but I think almost immediately you can ease into the system.
So I think what she wanted to ask is whether you get trained, whether you will get
training or actual hands-on work as a clinician.
No, sir. Hands-on work as a clinician once we join as a consultant.
I think that's not such a big problem. Of course, it would vary slightly from institute to institute, but overall, it's quite good.
I agree to what Dr. Aditya is mentioning, that any of these countries, if you have good surgical skill, you will get very good hands-on very easily.
But is the medical legal liability a lot more than in India?
Yes, yes, definitely. I mean, you have to be very careful about your advice. It has to match international protocols. As long as whatever you have advised is per international standards, nobody can touch you. If you have advised anything off label, then adequate consent is important. So that is true for Germany as well. So as long as you are in line with whatever international or whatever the German Ophthalmics Association's recommendation is, you cannot be touched by any court or anything.
So whatever we advise has to be backed by literature evidence.
Yes, yes, and most importantly, the regulatory agency as well. For example, use of Avastin. So you have to make sure that it has legal backing before you. I mean, this is just an example. So
So this is something that we will learn on the go once we start practicing there.
no, you have to be familiar with it before you can be allowed to practice.
So is that must be covered in the DHA exam?
Yes, of course. I mean, and then you, of course, the institute where you're working will familiarize you with these rules and regulations.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, I have a question. So, how do we apply for jobs, sir, in UAE or Abu Dhabi? Like, what is the? Can you please enlighten on this, sir, please?
Yeah, I think Dr. Aarti would also be able to answer. But I think once you get your clearances and online, or there are agencies that help you get in. Dr. Aarti, just.
Yeah, so you have to give DHA exam for Dubai, and there are different exams for different countries and different places, you can say. You're asking about UAE. So for that, you can go directly online and fill the form, or you can go through an agency. So when you go through an agency, they will help you to get the DHA license, and they will help you to get the jobs as well. I took the online way directly, so I applied myself and I got the DHA license. So now what I can do is I can apply to the hospitals. I can pull out the hospital names and the institute I want to work with, and I can apply directly to them. Or there are agencies which can help you to get the jobs. So it's not a very difficult thing. Now, if in case I have DHA, which is Dubai Health Authorities, so I have to practice in Dubai for 3 months before I can practice in Abu Dhabi. So when I go to Abu Dhabi, there will be a different medical council, and then you will be upgraded to the license there, and then you can apply any institute in that particular setting.
Ma'am, what about the job vacancies for a VR person, ma'am? And do they expect us to know FACO? Like, for a person who's practicing pure VR, what is the scope there in Middle East, ma'am? Like,
so if you, in case you have a specific training, definitely you have edge over the others. It will be very difficult to say that whether you have to be a good phaco surgeon to be a VR surgeon or not. It entirely depends on the hospital you are going to apply. It entirely depends on the institute you're going to apply, and it depends what they are expecting. So when you talk to them, when you speak to them, you will know that, okay, fine, this is not the place where I want to work, because these are their expectations. And the other question was that how can you apply for it? You have to just go through the websites and apply to the institute or hospital directly, or you can go through agencies. The agencies will know where the openings are, where the opportunities are. And then maybe you can, if in case you have some seniors over there, you can ask them, you can talk to your teachers in India who might have colleagues working over there, and they can tell you there is an opening in this hospital. You can just apply, and then you can go forward, I think.
I think, Dr. Anuj, there was some question about the US.
Yeah, please.
So, no, just two things. Unless you have, someone in a particular university and you have very good recommendations, generally it's an 8-year path to the US if you start today. And assuming everything is on time, including your MLEs and residency and everything, and fellowship, it's 8 years. But if you know someone, you have a lot of publications, they're willing to sponsor your degree or something, you can be far, it can be expedited. The process can be expedited.
Uh, Good evening, everybody. Sir, I have a question. Uh, Sir, I have recently just completed my MS in India. Hello.
Yes, please go.
Yes, sir. Sir, I have just completed my MS in India. So, what would your advice be as to like how should I go about in any of the country? Let's say the African subcontinent, the UK, Australia, or Dubai. Like, how do we go about it? Should I first go in for the exams and or a fellowship in India and then go to the countries, or how?
No, so that would be your decision based upon what is your current skill set. If you're doing FACOs, you're good with anti-segment, that is what you want to do. And you want to start off work immediately in a foreign country, then Africa is the best option. If you're willing to spend time, you have not yet had your fellowships, then while you're doing your fellowships, you can prepare for exams, which is again be country specific, if Africa is not your destination. And then if it is Dubai or UK, then you already had the necessary experience. Australia, New Zealand, they have their own exams as well. From what I've heard, at least from colleagues, it wasn't very difficult to get through. So generally, if during fellowship you can devote time to the academics and the clinical part, that would be the best. But if you already are familiar with phaco, anterior segment surgery, basic like pterygium, maybe glaucoma, then Africa is where you can start off almost immediately.
And sir, will the exams be only ophthalm specific, or will they be regarding the general MBBS and ophthalm? How will
I think FRCOPhth and all is very ophthalm specific.
Country that we have mentioned.
Yeah, so all the English speaking countries, I think, except for the US and Canada, I think it would be ophthalm specific. In Germany, it won't be ophthalm specific. Initially, you have to clear your MBBS things. I think UAE, I think Dr. Aarti has already, it was ophthalm specific, right?
Yeah, it will be ophthalm specific.
Yeah, so this is it. So in Germany, it is not ophthalm specific. You have to have some basic knowledge even of ECG and EEG interpretation as well. I mean, it may not be asked, but better if you do.
But we all know that for UK exams, you have to give the general medicine exam as well.
Yes.
Like there is a paper for in part 2, B, A and B, there are two things. So A is MCQ and B is general medicine questions. At least it used to be there at my time. But Dr. Vinit, I'll tell you what, there is no point in just writing these exams because these exams are really very costly and there is validity for it. So unless you have a plan that I want to settle in Dubai or I want to be in Dubai for 5 years or I want to be in UK for 5 years, there is no point in just giving the exam for just sake of having that degree. Like if you see any Indian doctor for that matter who's passed out in last 10 years will have FICO after the name. But does that exam give you license to practice in any of the other countries or for that matter in India? No, it doesn't give you. So if in case you're just writing the exams for sake of it, there's no point in doing that. Unless you have a plan that I want to go to Australia or UK or Dubai, don't take these exams, I feel.
Ma'am, one more follow-up question for that. So is there a specific lock-in period for any of the countries that you have mentioned? Like, do we have to just practice there, or can we practice for some time in Dubai and then like also come back and practice in India, depending on how?
Yeah, practicing in India is obviously always an option. That is because
you're not giving your Indian license, giving away your Indian license. But if in case you have your DHA license, there is a time limit that you have to work in Dubai in, I think within 3 years or 1 year, you have to work there for 1 year and then you have to keep renewing. For Africa, I still renew my license every year. though I don't work there. But renewal is not like India where you renew it every 3 or 5 years. There it is every year. So every year you are paying the fees. For FRCS, you pay every year. For MRCS Edinburgh, you pay every year. For FACS, you pay every year. So these things, they come with a lot of burden on your pocket, you know.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
I think that's a very important point that it's not worth if you're not planning to go to these countries for a long time to just for a sake for 6 months and all, then it may not be worth even trying for it unless you have a sponsorship.
Yeah, and Dr. Anuj, there was two things. One was a question, which is the easiest part of Europe to go to. I think Albania is somewhere where most people can easily get in. Serbia, Albania, the Eastern European nations.
Okay.
And number two, all queries have. That's why I said the queries can, best they can think and jot it down, because all queries will be country specific. I
Right.
mean, the same rules cannot apply to all countries. So best is first they need to know what. So if they are financially pressed, it is Africa is a good option because you can start off at least. If you're not financially pressed, if you are obligated to move to say the UK, like Dr. Rashmi was saying, then of course you have time on your hands. Then you can give exams, at your leisure. But your financial condition and your, of course, the willingness of parents to allow you to go.
Albania would be safe.
Yes, I have a friend practicing there, so he seems to be well settled there.
Is he from Bangalore?
No. I think he's from Delhi, but Dr.
Okay.
Taneja, Nishant Taneja. So he's practicing ophthalmology as a VR surgeon there, in fact.
Yeah. Do we have any more questions?
I think
Sir,
there
I have
was.
two questions actually. So I wanted to know that if we want to proceed, how do we proceed if we want to have a career in Canada? Do you have any insight for that?
I think from what I know is it's the same as the US. You have to go through an exam and rigorous exam and all.
Okay.
So I don't think it's straightforward. I mean, yes, again, like I said, if you have time, anything is possible. But that would be on a case-to-case basis. I mean, based upon your personal situation.
And we will have to repeat our residency if we want to work in
Yes.
Canada or
I
US.
think that is true for most places in the West, except
Okay.
maybe Albania and all of these smaller countries.
All right. And second, sir, I wanted to know that ma'am had talked about one MTI program, Medical
Yeah.
Training Initiative. So how do we actually get into that program?
So, do we have Dr. Rashmi? Because the UK timeline is a little different.
What I know is you have to have good recommendation from India. Like, let's say somebody can write to Dr. Dua that this person is my student and he wants to be under you for 6 months, and Dr. Dua accepts you as his candidate. Then he will write to the council in UK, and then you will be accepted there as a fellow. This is what I know from one of my friend who has gone through this route. I really don't have first-hand experience when it comes to all these MTI.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hi, sir. I just wanted to ask regarding Albania. You, sir, just told about Albania. Can you tell something more, sir? How to start for that?
No, so there are again agencies through which you can have your license and everything approved of. I don't have any direct contact of agencies in Albania, but they help you through the entire process.
Can I know the name of doctor, sir? You just told one of your friend.
I
Can I
think Dr.
contact?
Nishant Taneja. Let me just see if I can share his contact or some contact in with Dr. Anuj.
Okay, thank you, sir. One more question regarding Spain. Can you tell, sir, as a VR surgeon, is it possible to move to Spain?
Yes, of course. You can, but again, you have to know Spanish.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
Yeah. So Spanish. So all of these countries in the EU will have a language requirement. In Albania, of course, I don't think there's any. You can go in as an English-speaking doctor.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So thank you. I'll try and get a contact. If anybody helps out, I'll let you know about agencies.
Sure, sir.
So I think if there are no more questions, then we can let everyone enjoy their evening. And Dr.
Hi, Dr. Tejas here.
Yes, Dr. Tejas.
Just one question. For Africa, is it necessary to have good knowledge of retina also? Or if I'm just a good cataract surgeon, is it okay that
I think as a good cataract surgeon, you have 90% of the battle won. For the remaining 10%, somebody can fly in and
or anywhere in the world.
Yes. If you're a good cataract surgeon, the scepter is in your hands. You run the roost. So doesn't matter.
Good evening, sir. I had a question. So, would it be beneficial to do FRCOphth or FRCS or some degree of that sort before applying to Dubai, just to add weightage to the resume?
I don't think it really matters, but yes, maybe I'm sure additional degrees will always help. So that is not a major problem.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
But it's important to know that these are not mandatory. So if you're planning for Dubai, then you should focus on the DHA, and then you can tag along for FRCS or whatever you wish to do. But you should be focused what you want to do. It cannot be just I want to go abroad and जो भी मिल जाए ये कर लूँ वो कर लूँ. If you want to work abroad, then you think about countries like this, like Africa. If you want a job, if you want to settle.
Yeah, going abroad, bahar jana hai. That cannot be the game. You have to know where you're going, why you're going.
Absolutely.
And what you expect from that country. But I just want to go out. So that is not, because it is very it's a settlement. So Dr. Anuj, if anybody wants to get in touch, especially with regards to East Africa, they can definitely contact me.
Definitely. I'll share the.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the number of one of the people who has already set up a hospital in in Africa, and in fact he's in the process of setting up a couple more.
Yeah.
So I will keep him posted, and I will tell him that people may get in touch with you but anybody who wants Africa, at least be sure that SICS is something that you are very comfortable with.
So if you're planning for Africa, do a short-term fellowship, at least get.
Yes. And as far as and be prepared to at least spend a couple of years. I mean, that is true for anywhere, right? So even if you want to settle in India, 2 years now, you need more than 2 years to settle in India. So, just going there and then you don't get a case in, say, a couple of months, and then you just come back. So that, that is something that you should not. So be prepared, because money will not be a problem in Africa. You will be saving. In fact, you'll be sending money home, especially if you're private, you're associated with a private institute.
So how much money are we looking at when we talk about
based
Africa?
upon your skill set and anything, it can range from, say, $3,000 to $3,500 take home a month to $11,000 a month.
And that take home depends on what, sir?
It
when
depends
we talk
upon,
about it's a big variation. 3,500 and 11,000
no, so
is
that's
a big
what,
variation.
based upon your skill set. So if the only thing you can do is SICS and run an OPD, then it would obviously be lower. If, say, you can combine it with corneal surgeries, with glaucoma, you're willing to do camps there, then that varies. Then that can go up. So I know people at both ends of the spectrum. But whatever it is take home. And most importantly, if you look at your Indian earnings, you are ultimately giving away 60% of your declared income to government authorities. Here, this remains with you because you're not spending on food, accommodation, or transport.
Sir, what is regarding safety, sir, in Africa?
Safety, like I said, it is safer than most parts of northern or eastern India. I mean, whatever we hear in Gujarat. So that's the thing. But let me say it is as most places, if not all, are as, especially in East Africa, where I have worked, are safer than, as safe as Bombay or Gujarat or Maharashtra. And I'll just give a small example. I forgot my jacket with $500 US in it at a cafe in a petrol pump. And I remembered about it about 4 hours later. When I went back, everything was as it was. Not $1 was missing in Zambia. So this is, of course, this is one example. Everybody can have a different, experience somewhere. There are unscrupulous elements everywhere. But the incidence or the probability of something untoward happening in these 4 countries that I have visited and worked in is probably less than 2%.
Sir, anything regarding in particular to South Africa?
South Africa has a different protocol. So settling there would probably mean giving an exam as well, because South Africa is slightly different. There are a lot of Europeans settled there, so they have a different view. But yes, Zimbabwe, all of these countries, why I mentioned East Africa and Zambia is because these places are very safe. The African people there are very safe. So Congo, Nigeria, Mozambique, these places are not necessarily always very safe. So these are the people, because Africa, it's not just one country. It has multiple countries within, and just like in India, from state to state there are safety variations. The same goes for Africa as well.
So what about availability of VR equipments in Africa?
That can be set up. The setup is not a problem as long as you give them some sort of a commitment.
So the pay also varies. It depends whether your agency is from India or whether you are.
No, absolutely, and it would vary upon your ability to generate. So if the investors see more potential in you, they generally revise salaries every 6 months. So if they see good variation, good followability, they see that you're building up your reputation, they will not hesitate to give you, your due.
Good evening, sir. Sir, what is the expected pay in UAE and Dubai?
I think from what I know, 10 to 14,000 dirhams a month is sometimes, again, based upon your skill set and everything, it would be quite good. And that is, of course, tax free.
Yeah, that is a very important point.
Yeah, for reliable agencies in Middle East, I think Dr. Aarti would be the best to answer.
Yeah, Dr. Aarti has just yeah.
No, but people can get in touch with him.
Yeah, so
I think from what I have seen about Africa and all is the lifestyle, because I have relatives there. I have friends and relatives both live, and I have relatives who have grown up in Africa. I think the kind of lifestyle that they have or they can boast of, I see very few people in the US enjoying that.
So bottom line is Africa is the place to go. Forget
Yes.
Europe and UK.
Because it's quick. You don't have to go through the boring routine of doing MBBS revisions again. And you get respect as a doctor. They really respect you if you're doing good work. And they are the kind who say that if a doctor's surgery is unsuccessful, it's probably my eye or my body that did not respond well to it, not the other way around. So it's almost never the doctor's fault. And as far as work-life balance goes, it's 9 to 6 or 9 to 5. The rest is yours. There was a question on work-life balance. So 9 to 5 is generally what you're looking at. The weekends are free.
And you get a 1 month.
Yes, you get 1 month a year off. You can take it the way you want it, and you get a return ticket to India whenever you want. I mean, for one trip to India will be sponsored, by the hospital. So as far as safety goes, I can vouch for these 4 countries: Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya, and Zambia. For sure.
Sir, regarding sir.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Yes,
Sir,
please.
regarding salary in Dubai, sir, you told that will be 14,000, close to 14,000 dirhams.
It can be. Again, it is variable from place to place or institute to institute.
Yeah, I just calculated it. It comes close to 3,30,000, something like that.
Yes.
Monthly.
Right.
So there won't be much difference, like compared
No,
to.
no, and in fact that's what. So, but of course this is tax free, so that I think is more important than anything else. So this is 14,000 is the starting thing. Then it goes up quite well.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
You
Yeah.
start
So,
with that salary.
huh?
So you start with that salary. So that would
Yes.
be like
Yes.
half of what you would start in India, or even little lesser sometimes.
Yes. No. No. Mostly it is lesser. No?
Yeah, absolutely. So I
So
think the Google is also trending Africa and Albania. So we'll call it a day. And if anything is there, any questions, please post, and we'll get a reply
yeah.
from Dr.
No,
Sudhakar.
so that's what. And just last point,
Share his number.
as a specialist, as a super specialist, I mean, even I think if I'm not wrong, people have earned up to 50 or 100,000 dirhams a month as well. So I mean, everywhere the possibilities are limitless, but getting there is, I think, the easiest in Africa, and then of course the UAE, because but like Dr. Aarti said, the process to getting to the UAE is very long. That's not the case in Africa. I mean, Africa, you can start in the next 3 months if you decide to do so.
So the important point is, I think, how to reach out to these institutions or
No, that I
these
can help
private
you. I mean, as far
hospitals.
as Africa goes, I can
Yeah.
definitely help out. As regards to UAE, they have a more solidified process. So I'm sure that information is already online. But for East Africa or Zambia, I can definitely help out.
And as
How can we
Dr.
reach out to you, sir?
You can ask Dr. Anuj for my
share
number
doctor's number to
and
you.
my email ID. Feel free to contact me on WhatsApp, wherever. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Dr. Anuj in touch with a couple of people who I know are setting up hospitals
Okay, so
and who
we'll
are willing to
talk
invest,
about.
provided they have the necessary commitments. That's it.
And the other
Okay, sir.
option is you can go with the chains of hospital which are already there in
Yes,
Africa,
Agrawals
like
and all are already there,
ASG.
but then you have to work by their rules.
Yeah, your pay would be less, but at least you have a surety, and if you feel, then you stay back there.
And if you are confident about your own skill set, in the long term, the best is to have some measure of control over your own practice, and that is a partnership.
Okay, sir.
So you can start off as a salaried individual, and then once you are confident of that, yes, you have enjoyed your work there, you are enjoying the work-life balance, you can invest.
So it's a place where you can settle down. That's what you mean.
Yes, and I can vouch for the place because I have cousins who have grown up there, and they have grown up happier.
So, any possibility of private practice, sir, in Middle East?
Eventually, yes, but
Countries
I
and
think
Africa.
Africa definitely. In the Middle East, I think owning a clinic is difficult. I mean, you need to have a local contact, and there are many such rules. Because when you say a private practice, you mean you own the institute and the practice.
Private practice, sir.
Yeah, that's what private practice. So I think to set up, I don't know if the rules are still the same, but I think you need some local form, and that would be a long route because investment and the legal liability is there. I think most people find it safer to be in a group.
Sir, what about Mayo Clinic in Dubai, sir?
I have no idea about that. So, but yes, but that is again not private, no? That is you're talking about employment.
Yes, sir. Just wanted to ask about it.
No, all clinics in Dubai and everything is good. UAE, it is very nice to practice it, provided you have the necessary skill set, the right contacts, everything is fine.
So I think we'll try to have a session on Dubai if we can, and we'll discuss more about the exams. And so basically, we've come to know that we can go to Europe and Africa. And
just Dr. Anuj, Dr. Mohsin wanted my email ID and phone number, so please feel free to share,
yes,
or anybody, not just him.
I will put it in the group. So please, if your phone gets hanged, then please.
Yes. It doesn't matter. Or
Okay.
I think what you can do is just create a group with whoever is interested for Africa.
Sure.
A WhatsApp group would work best so that I can put
We are
all the details there.
connecting with Ministry of Africa directly. Okay.
And
Okay.
specifically,
Thank
you
you,
can name
everyone.
it East Africa because that is the play part where I'm most familiar with. And because there are a lot of Gujaratis and Indians in general there, lifestyle there is excellent.
Sure. So if any more questions are there, please put in the group and we'll get in touch with Dr. Aditya. And we have to thanks Dr. Aditya, Dr. Aarti, and Dr. Rashmi for sparing their time. And because it's the big schedule, busy schedule, and they must be traveling also. So thanks,
No,
Aditya.
thank you very much. And I look forward to hearing from everyone. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Bye.
Yeah.